fellow readers. In this video I'm going to talk about The King of the Dead at the Dark Palace. And this is by Suki Kage and illustrations by Maron Tomari. Quite the name. So I'll quickly read the back and then change probably whatever it says to what I took it as. The beginning of the end. When a sickly boy succumbs to illness only to awaken as a lowly undead named End, his initial reaction is not horror but joy. No longer weak and bedridden, he is eager to experience the freedom of a properly functioning body. Sadly, his delight is cut short when he realizes the shackles of his previous life have simply been replaced by new ones, specifically the powerful necromancer who revived him. To gain true freedom, he'll need to overcome the many obstacles in his way, starting with his dark master. So that sort of covers it. But yeah, I found this one pretty engaging in the dark way, and also like how could he, I guess, make a life for himself. So he is reanimated by a necromancer, and this is not, as far as I can tell from this, it's not an isekai. He was, I think, the son of a noble, but he was very sickly, so he was bedridden for a long time. And he just so happened to meet the qualifications that the necromancer was looking for, because he's trying to create the King of the Dead. Like he has to have a vessel for the King of the Dead. So that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to create the correct vessel. Meanwhile, End is just trying to find a way to survive, and that's of course not his real name. And he does actually remember who he was in his past life. And not really his past life, but I mean like as his living life, I guess. His life as a live person. He does remember who he was, and he doesn't want that life back, but he also doesn't want to be in control of the necromancer. So very early on, he starts sneaking knowledge. So at first he couldn't read I don't think he could read the books that the necromancer had, but he quickly developed that ability and that sense. I think it's part of who he is. Like, I think he did have the qualities that the necromancer was looking for, which would have the ability to like retain his intelligence. So he very quickly can read the books of the necromancer and discovers the different levels that the undead have. And so he realizes at the initial time that he's just like really low level undead. And he's learning to figure out how he can level up, but also not let the necromancer know that he's leveling up, because he'll be treated differently once he levels up, but also he's trying to gain as much strength as he can in order to kill the necromancer, so that he's not kept captive by the necromancer. Now, meanwhile, there is a servant in the castle that is kind of keeping an eye on him, and she's mortal, and she's very, very much abused by the necromancer. Like, he beats her, she always does something wrong. He doesn't believe what she says. Like, when she tries to tell him that End isn't a normal undead, whichever that lower level was, like, he doesn't believe her, and there's just all these, like, he's terrible to her. But she does keep trying to catch him out. But End ends up making a deal with her, but I don't want to get into all that because it would spoil the plot of this book. And then meanwhile, in the background of that, there is a group, I can't remember their name, it's like Guardians or something. What are they called? But anyway, there's a group that's kind of like the soldiers that fight and destroy necromancers and their creations, because it's an abomination. I think it's the Holy Knights. I think it's just as simple as the Holy Knights. I could be wrong though. But there is specifically one of these knights that End makes a connection to, and it kind of brings into his plan in order to take out the necromancer. And so that is the main goal and plot of Volume 1, is can he take out the necromancer and how? And I don't want to say too much because it would spoil it, but I'm guessing that moving forward it will be continuing to develop power and get stronger and level up and move through the world and try not to die. But yeah, this is the Holy Knight, and this is End. And it does have really good interior art as well. So look at that. So those are the knights, and the necromancer is back here, and that's the servant Lou over there. So, I love the artwork for this. It's really cool. I thought this was good in a dark fantasy fiction world. I mean, obviously it's pretty dark. There's a vampire. It's not necessarily like grimdark. It's just dark in the sense that it is, dealing a lot with death. There's a lot of gore and violence in here. Like he's pretty good where he tries not to kill people. But he does have to murder. He does have to kill these animals in the forest, and that all helps him level up, and he gains his power from that. But he tries not to harm people. And since he still has a semblance of who he was, he remembers his name and who he was in the past, that helps him keep his sanity to not harm people. Because most of the undead will attack humans, whether it's one of the higher levels is vampires. So if that helps explain to you the kind of system that you're dealing with, it's vampire is one of the more intelligent undead, and they obviously do have to drink blood of some kind. So there's some that just kill their victim, and it was fascinating putting together this list or idea of the undead and what their rankings would be as undead. What undead is better than others. Because I've never thought of it that way before. It's just I don't know, they were similar levels. Obviously vampires would be a little bit higher though, because they have basic human thought and can interact with humans still. So I guess I can see that, but you wouldn't think that resurrected dead would be able to develop into a vampire, because that's not how traditional folklore tells the story. But it's kind of neat to think of that kind of system where it would be level up. So it's fun. I'm enjoying this one. I do love the artwork for this series. Hopefully it stays this good. It'll probably continue, because I had a good time with it, and I would recommend it. That's it for this video. Until next time.